All right, well, something we did experience at Cannes, Sen and I, was the Phoenician scheme. That is the latest from Mr. Wes Anderson. Now, I don't know if you saw our video, Jesse. We got a lot of divisive opinion about the film, a lot of negative opinion even.
Yeah.
The French people fucking hate it,
Hated
apparently.
it.
Before we get into that, let's just talk about Wes Anderson for a moment. I feel like he's such a lightning rod for opinion, maybe now more than ever. And his last 5 years, I'm a huge fan of the output. And just to remind the listeners, we have The French Dispatch, we've got Asteroid City, we have Phoenician Scheme, we have his Roald Dahl Netflix series, where he adapted a few Roald Dahl stories. People are calling this derisively his like miniature era, or his dollhouse era, or his storybook era. I love these movies.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think they're amazing. I feel like he's landed at like a new, maybe not a new height for himself, but like a new place that I am very riveted by. What do you guys think of Wes Anderson right now, these movies I just mentioned, before we talk about Phoenician Scheme?
I guess I'm going to directly answer your question about, like,
Please.
Why is he a lightning rod and what do I think of him? I think that a lot of the criticism around Wes Anderson, as you just described, is kind of lazy.
Agreed.
Because, like his style or not, and obviously he leads with style frequently, like it or not, he has committed his entire artistic being to that style, and he imposes that style on all sorts of different stories, with lightest themes to the deepest themes. And I think the fact of the matter is he is like unapologetically committed to that style, and people that say he's lazy or derivative or whatever, I'm just like, how can you watch that product? Again, like it or hate it, I don't care. How can you look at what he's creating and go, oh, that's lazy or boring, I've seen it before? You actually fucking haven't seen it before.
Yeah,
like,
ever.
Every time he comes
Before
out with
or
something.
since.
Exactly. My mic fell. I got so heated about Wes.
Love it.
He's always reinventing himself, and actually, sorry, I'm going to take that back. He's not reinventing himself. He is deepening his own vocabulary every time he makes a movie, and I fucking love that.
Yeah, I agree 100% with Jesse. I'm a huge fan, never faltered, and I think that this new kind of epoch is some of my favorite work by him. I think that I agree that if you're looking at it on a very shallow level, you can be like, oh, like One Trick Pony, and I said this to you about 1,000 times during Cannes, Shamir. I'm like, it's the best trick in Hollywood. No one else can do the trick.
Yeah.
Of course he's doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's a trick that people have tried to copy. If someone, you know how many, a generation of filmmakers wanted to make the next Grand Budapest, and none of them could fucking do it because he has the sauce, right? And so,
Generative AI tried to make it. I
dude,
mean,
TikTokers tried to capture it, and none of it has
The closest was that SNL sketch about the Wes Anderson aping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if Dirk Nowitzki has a fadeaway jump shot that goes in every time, you shoot the shot.
You don't stop doing
Exactly.
skyhook when you drop 30 on niggas. Like, what are you talking? And for me, it's like, lately, I think with these latest films, it feels like he's turned even more inward and even more meta. And it's like, if you don't like that, then maybe you just don't you don't understand or like him. Like you never really did understand what he was doing at the beginning, because it does feel like a deepening. I agree.
Yeah.
like Senna, Asteroid City was totally that deepening. That was
Meta
him
as
doubling
hell.
down. Yeah, that was him saying like, this is me. You think I do the same thing? Okay, let me double down, but make it like the deepest fucking text you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Phoenician Scheme was that. I think it's a lot lighter and fair, but still, I echo everything you said.
When we were at Cannes, we were doing some work for the synagogue, shout out them, and we made a video fresh out of the premiere of the Phoenician Scheme, polling people what they thought of it. And Senna, people were very negative.
Yeah, they were hating on it bad. I was really surprised.
A lot of people were, dissing the visuals and how repetitive it is, which I think we just debunked within 2 minutes.
Yeah, disagree 100%.
And then they were saying that the plot was
confusing,
very intricate and confusing. And I thought
that one,
we kind of said that like the plot almost follows like this comic book logic of like taking down things one by one.
They
They're literally
cross off the
flashing
line
a
items.
chyron for you. Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are we talking? It was the French people that were. I thought I didn't want to be like, I don't want to be like that, but like I thought maybe it was like a language thing, because there was some like kind of like more subtle, languagey kind of parts where there were expository bits. Where I'm like, maybe some of it just went over their heads, but
And
don't
then
know.
we're not even mentioning that it's really just a father-daughter story at
It
the
is.
end of it, at the heart of it.
Yeah.
So
I think
let's just talk about the Phoenician scheme. This is Wes Anderson's latest film. It stars Benicio del Toro. He plays a magnate in the 50s named Zsa-Zsa Korda.
Plutocrat.
He
Saboteur.
has survived all of these assassination attempts, and after one of these too many, he wants to bequeath his estate to his only living daughter, but he has to repair his relationship with her. She's a nun. She's played by Mia Threapleton,
So well.
who
I loved her.
Wes Anderson says he only found out was Kate Winslet's daughter after multiple rounds of auditions. Jesse, as an actor, do you
all
believe that?
right.
If he's saying that, if he's like out there on the
He is
junket
saying
saying it, I kind of believe him. I don't know.
He's not getting in front of the issue, you know?
I
don't
don't buy
know.
it for a
You know what,
fucking
like,
second.
I think it's the time to double down on Nepo babies. Like, I feel
Agreed.
like we're kind of in a
Nepo
post-Nepo.
actors are hot right
The
now.
stock's
Exactly.
up. They're
Yeah,
all
stock
talented.
is high. So, like, why wouldn't he just be like, yeah, fucking Kate called me and said, put my daughter in a movie and look how amazing she is. If he's saying that, I'm inclined to believe him.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
He is at a level he probably doesn't have to lie to anyone anymore.
True.
The plot is about Zsa-Zsa trying to sell off parts of his estate to all these different
Entrepreneurs.
these different
investors.
stakeholders or
Yeah.
investors, and so he's got to go around the world, or specifically within like a pseudo Middle Eastern area, and unwind these deals, and hijinks ensue, and that's kind of the plot of the film.
It's awesome.
So, Senna, I'll start with you. I mean, what did you think of it coming out of... We saw it at a press screening, Ken. What did you think of it then? We sat together, and how do you feel about it now, a few weeks later?
Dude, funny as hell, charming as hell, exciting as hell. It just like, it was another corner turned by Wes where he's like synthesizing. And I said this about Asteroid City. It feels like he's grabbing a bunch of different threads from all of his different work and then adding a few other ones and just synthesizing something new. And, you know, even though this wasn't the same, like, kind of like Russian doll, like story and a story and a story kind of deal, it was kind of more straightforward in that it was sort of like a heist, like, in like industry, like business deal, exploration, like it had a more plain premise. I wouldn't use the word plain. I mean, a more straightforward premise. But for me, you and I, we looked at each other. We were like laughing at each other like all the time, or like
we were
going on together. Like it was just very, very touching.
Basketball scene with Bryan
I'm
Cranston
gonna get into
and
that
Tom
later. Don't
Hanks.
step on my
Yeah,
lines.
all right.
Don't step on my
All of
lines.
us are going to want to talk about that. I mean, the funniest fucking scene in the movie.
We had a great time, Senna. Agreed. I mentioned to you that it felt like Wes Anderson doing a version of Tintin.
Yep.
And it's kind of like an adventure caper, like him trying out Tintin or Indiana Jones, like
Yeah.
pitched at
Lupin.
adolescence maybe, and that age range. And I did detect a lot of the same thing from The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, which is this kind of like parable nature, this teaching a moral lesson. That's what parables are. They're on the nose sometimes. Like
Yeah.
they have a point, but often that's a really nice thing to
Yeah.
arrive at a place where like there is a statement. And that statement here is simplistic, but how it gets there is not. And the
Exactly.
statement is like, it's really good to live an honest life and to connect with the people that you love. And if
Yeah.
that means getting rid of all the material trappings and your capitalistic instinct, then get the fuck rid of that shit. Yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's
And
true.
that's what the movie's about. I mean, Jesse, you saw it last night. What'd you think of it?
I'm actually curious. I know you said the reaction was mixed to Can, but I know you guys were laughing. What was the audience's response in terms of the comedic moments, in terms of like actual laughing out loud in your screening?
Middling.
Middling?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we laughed the most.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, interesting. So I experienced kind of the same thing. I felt like I was laughing a lot, and there were a few pops, definitely. Like, Michael Cera had some great pops. We'll
Yep.
get into his fucking masterclass performance.
He was sick, yeah.
The basketball scene was a pop. There were definitely, like, some visual gags that got some big laughs, but overall I felt like it was an art house chuckle crowd, and I was the one that was, like, really giggling throughout. And I think that's kind of the summation of my feelings of the movie. I just fucking love watching Wes Anderson movies.
Me
I
too.
feel comfortable watching them. I'm happy when I'm watching them. They're so visually interesting that I'm never bored during them. And I was just having a great time. I think, let's compare it to Asteroid City for a second, which I already mentioned. That movie, I left and I was like, oh my god, I need to go back and see that again because I understood 15% of it.
Yes.
This one, I was like, great, I understood 150% of it.
Yep.
Because it is a straightforward story. It's not confusing. I'm so shocked to hear that people thought it was confusing. It can. Because it's truly, as we've already discussed, a straightforward story about a father and a daughter and this caper. And there's not 20 different Russian doll, plot lines unhatching. It's straightforward. It's about love. It's about rejecting capitalism. All of that stuff goes down so easy for me. Benicio del Toro repeats this line throughout the entire movie. When they're in danger, he says, myself, I feel very safe. That's how I feel.
To Gabriel so many times. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you don't remember? That was like the funniest line.
Well, listen, man. Myself, I feel very safe in Wes's hands.
I do as well.
I just love being in his hands. Pause.
No pause. No pause.
No
You
pause.
want him to grip you.
No pause. I want him to coddle me.
Feel you up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really had a great time watching it.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit more about the film itself. What worked best in it for you guys? And, saying what works best in a Wes Anderson film is a silly exercise because a lot works great. I think, where do we want to start? The visuals, the intricacy. I mean,
I want to talk about the pace.
He almost makes it look too easy. I think that's what the audience might be forgetting. That like we said earlier, no one is doing this. No one can do it.
Yeah.
It's just him. And I'm sorry that he makes his films look ridiculously easy. They're not. They're the hardest films to pull off. But Senna, go for it.
Yeah, I want to talk first about the pace. This thing is break fucking neck.
Oh yeah.
And that was so fun because Asteroid City is not, right? Like it picks up, but Asteroid City it grabs you and it says this is the beat of the drum and you will follow it till the end. This one, it's like you have no clue what's going to happen, where we're going, who's going to be what, when.
A person explodes within the first 30 seconds on the plane.
They're handing out grenades.
I was like, Wes.
They're handing out grenades like party favors, and that's just a normal thing in the world. Like you don't know what's coming next. You don't understand the norms. You don't understand the social cues, but you come to kind of get caught up in it, right? And then by the end of it, you're just absolutely locked into this roller coaster ride. I thought the pace was one of my favorite parts about it because it's not a short movie. It's not crazy long, but it never felt like it dragged for a second. And with all of this exposition and so many things happening and all of this plot going on, even though it was straightforward, there was a lot going on. I think that's really hard to pull off and make work. Yeah.
Another thing that really worked for me is just the central three performances: Benicio del Toro, Mia. How are we saying her last name?
Threapleton? Winslet? No, I'm kidding.
Mia Threapleton, née Winslet, and Michael Cera. And, going back to the kind of simplicity of this movie, I really liked that Benicio del Toro was the protagonist of the movie.
I don't think we've seen that in a Wes Anderson film since,
ever.
I don't know,
he
Rushmore, maybe?
We had a story in French Dispatch.
He's always about ensembles, and especially recently. So I noted that too, that it really is centrally focused on one person.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, Benicio del Toro fucking delivers. He was so great.
Another guy who's such a natural that makes it look easy what he does. And we have a connotation with him built up over a career of great Benicio del Toro roles, but his just weary exhaustion / danger / sensitivity. It's just a thing that you can't just pick that off a tree with any other actor.
Agreed. Yeah. No, I just couldn't imagine it being anyone else in this movie. I can't think of anyone I'd switch out.
He's perfect. I think also the dynamics between the three of them, if you think of it like a little jazz trio or a little orchestral chamber triplet, whatever you want to call it, you have that gruff, dry, glib, really grizzled Benicio del Toro thing. Then you have Mia Threapleton's total deadpan, chain-smoking dryness, so
this
funny.
Vulnerable sensitivity right underneath. You can feel that from her, And
then you have the little oboe floating in over the top, Michael Cera doing this Swedish fucking, or I guess it's Norwegian accent instead of from Oslo.
It was bad is what it was.
It was bad, but it was perfect.
And
because it was consistent.
Yeah.
Which was the part that impressed me. So just all three of them together, the interplay was so great. But with Benicio del Toro as this kind of strong arm in the middle.
Yeah.
So great.
I hinted at the basketball scene. What else you want to talk about that center? Or what else were the other highlight scenes from the film?
Can I say something that's kind of answering your question?
Sure.
Do I have... Okay, we'll wait for the basketball scene. But other scenes that I really, really liked, my favorite parts of the movie were when you... It's this fun underdog thing where you're like, the stakes keep getting higher and you keep thinking that this whole like house of cards is going to fall apart in this crazy like scheme they're trying to pull off.
The covering of the gap.
Yeah, the covering of the gap, which is like the central like pushing force. But I love how, in ways that you're not sure if he had planned, Benicio del Toro finds a specific way to turn the tables at the last minute. With Jeffrey Wright, with the club owner, with all of them, he just finds a way to charm them and get them. Each of those little ways in which he flips it at the last minute just charmed my fucking socks off. I love that. He takes a
It's
bullet.
satisfying.
It is. It's like he takes a bullet. Did he plan to? Did he pay the fucking gorillas? You don't know. You don't know. But you're so excited that he's like winning despite the odds. You know, it's really fun.
Yeah. My favorite part is kind of unhelpful. I don't want to spoil it, but I just found the actual ending like very touching.
Yeah.
A really sweet moment. And again, simplistic, but in the way that gets to you because it is straightforward in its messaging.
Yeah, I think people may read it as saccharine, but I think that over time, I think it's going to age really well. You know, like you said, there's going to be a generation of like young people that go to see this with their parents that they're going to be like, I think I said this, like, this is my Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Basically, anyone I talked to that was down on it, I just kept reminding them like, you're going to see this again. You will like it more. It's just a fact. That's how Wes Anderson works.
Yeah.
And all of you coming out poo-pooing this are going to eat crow.
I don't want to beat a dead horse here. Wes is easy to critique because he has a style.
Yep.
Other filmmakers that are a little more obtuse or like a little, I don't know, a little more taciturn in their filmmaking, it's like, oh, how can we pick this apart? It's kind of hard to pick and choose. This is like, look at his style. That's stupid. That's boring. He's accessible, and so it's easy to tear him down because he's kind of easy to talk about.
I think it sometimes pushes him beyond critique. You know, like a lot of filmmakers, and this is not against them, they're all cobbled together versions of their favorite shit. And Wes Anderson, of course, borrows from other places, but like something about what he does feels so like one of one. Like this is something that we've not seen and will not see. And so some of the critiques of his style, I'm like, but no, you just don't.
No, you mentioned the New Yorker loving this. Richard Brody always caping up for Wes because his style is so his own, and he's one of the few last people representing a bit of auteur theory of just being his own man. And you know, this is also, we should say, like his collaborators, whether they're actors or behind the screen, like his costume designer, set designer, are integral.
Yeah.
But like the unified vision is always there, and I fuck with that.
Can I give a quick shout out to the incredible black and white photography shot by Bruno Delbonnel, which I was super excited to see Bruno behind the camera. Usually it's Robert Yeoman as Wes's cinematographer. And I thought this is a really fun little, like, it's a little in the weeds, but Bruno Delbonnel has shot some of my favorite Coen Brothers movies. He shot Inside Llewyn Davis. He's not their normal cinematographer. That's Roger Deakins. And now he's shooting this Wes Anderson movie as kind of not Wes's normal DP, and I thought that was really fun.
He crushes
and those scenes were so beautiful, I thought. So yeah, just shout out Bruno.
All right, should we talk about basketball in Wes Anderson?
Yes, American hoop culture. I think that it's people forget because Wes Anderson is like running around like Paris all the time.
In Paris, yeah.
Yeah, and they've just accepted him as one of their own.
Yep.
They forget this nigga is from the where's he from? He's from the Midwest, right?
Texas.
Texas?
Yeah.
No, he's from this nigga is from Texas. He is from one of the meccas of American sports culture. He was probably on the basketball court at some point in his life before he started making films. I love that he just shouted this out. Like, if you can't solve a problem any other way, ball up top every time.
Jesse, you saw it last night. Can you just set the scene of that moment?
Yeah, so Benicio del Toro, Zsa-Zsa, goes to meet can anyone remind me that
The Sacramento something.
Yeah.
Sacramento Consortium, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's the Sacramento Consortium. He goes to meet these two brothers played by Bryan Cranston and Tom Hanks.
fucking
Who
Hanks.
I can't believe haven't played brothers before.
Yeah.
They're so
They should be
good.
brothers in everything.
Everything.
They should be.
I'd watch a movie about those two. Their rise to power.
Absolutely should be. And yeah, he goes to meet them.
They're
to
in
try
like collegiate sweatwear.
Yeah, Pepperdine and Stanford, was it?
Yeah.
I think
I think
Cranston Cranston went to Stanford and Hanks went to Pepperdine.
It was tough.
And they come out and they have like the 1950s like tucked in towels.
Yeah.
And ball up top. In order to get them to cover the gap, they play a game basically of like horse.
Horse, yeah.
And they absolutely cook Riz Ahmed playing like a crown prince and Zsa-Zsa.
He's like traveling. It was just so fun.
Dude, Riz
Santa's like punching me in the seat. Like,
I swear to God.
Can you believe we're seeing this?
Riz Ahmed is playing horse with Bryan Cranston and Tom Hanks. It's just so sick. Yeah.
At one point, Riz shoots the ball through the bottom of the hoop. It goes up through the hoop and then swishes back down. And he goes, "Does that count?" And I think it was Tom Hanks is like, "It doesn't count, but I've never seen it before."
And then he goes for the final shot and asks if he can do it grandma style. It's just, I'm sorry, we're spoiling it. We're stepping on one of the best moments of the movie, but yeah, it's great.
No, it was
so
delightful.
Great. Leland and Reagan, I think, are their names, which is just so American too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going back tonight. I can't wait for this exact moment.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we kind of discussed it, but Wes as this lightning rod. Senna, I want to ask you. I mean, he gets called out for being like this white upper middle class only director, and here you are loving his shit. Like, what do you say to people saying that?
No, it's a boring critique that I think has kind of been propagated on Twitter, maybe because he hasn't had as many like specifically black characters. People are like, oh, like, who knows when a black person will show up in a Western. But
meanwhile, Jeffrey Wright is just amazing in every friggin' movie.
But not even just him. Just the numbers of actors of color he has brought into his creative process, whether in front of or behind the camera as collaborators. Like, he is not that person, and he, I think, is one of the directors has taken that criticism most seriously and grazes it in some of his work. I think that I just think that it's boring. It's a boring critique. This guy is not just like a white bread, like manicured guy, like playing on his side of the white picket fence. I think he's really getting into the weeds of shit, and I felt that in his work from the beginning. Like, look at what Grand Budapest is fucking about. Like, are you serious? Look at how Zero gets treated. Like, he's talking about these things. He understands these things. So I just have never been into it. Yeah, I love him.
I think there's a real universality to his themes always.
Yep.
And if you can watch the movie and put your phone away and dig past the bells and whistles that his movies always have, which are amazing to behold, you're getting into some, we keep saying it, but like some just really deep, simple stuff that ties all of humanity together.
And you can follow that thread from Rushmore, Bottle Rocket, through his aughts stuff, his teen stuff, and now the thread pretty much remains the same for his movies. He's interested in, I think, like the kindness of humans and relationships to others.
Yeah, and I also just think that it's so interesting how like all of his movies are about how knowable the people you come to care for really are, and how much you can trust yourself for wanting to trust and believe in them because they're family or because they've helped you. Like that kind of thing, that's from the beginning of time to the end of time, that's going to speak to someone out there. It spoke to me, it spoke to you too. I think it's important.
Great. Well, we say go watch The Phoenician Scheme, maybe even go watch it twice.